I will say in the beginning of my career, it was like a hard thing for me to understand people really do feel like they know you. And just kind of accepting that and realizing like, this is a good thing that people care about you, but also I am very shy and timid. So it's a funny thing.
Carly, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good.
Last time we caught up, you were here just getting ready for C2C.
Mm-hmm.
And how was that for you?
Wild. It's hard for me to even put into words what that crowd response was. I was looking around asking everyone, is this normal here? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been crazy to see the growth, and to be able to come back is amazing.
Well, I was going to say, you know, we are spoiled these days. For example, you were here in March. You're back around again less than 12 months later. This is brilliant for us.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, you know, we might get the odd occasional star who'll come over. Now it's all the time.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. But the fans, especially for C2C, and we've got another one coming up, they're so keyed up for it. Because there's so many stars on the bill, and so that's probably the reaction. That's why.
Yeah.
And here you are back again, playing London first and then working your way around the country. Now, I believe, because you did your first London gig last night, I believe it was, well, great reception is what I heard, and a brilliant performance, but a little bit emotional at times.
Yes. I mean, first of all, that venue over in Shepherd's Bush is so beautiful. And I don't know, I always try to articulate this for UK fans. I feel like they understand me in a way that I don't feel understood anywhere else. And I feel like they understand me as an artist, a songwriter, my whole thing. And just seeing how genuinely excited they were to be there really moved me a few times.
That's really interesting because I've heard about before from artists saying, you know, there is a different vibe in the UK than the US, but to get that from you, like, you know, from yourself, and does that make it more, you know, worthwhile for you to jump on the plane and get all the way over here? Does that, for you, is that the payoff?
Oh, yeah. There's a massive payoff here for me, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, great. So you're not filling up again there, are you? Just thinking about that. You just come across as quite emotional. And
I mean, I love it here.
Yeah.
I love the fans here. I really like the fans here.
Oh, well, that's great. Now, it's great to have you at this time, too, because I'm told there's the deluxe version of your Hummingbird album. Do you want to tell us about that? Because I know there's new tracks on it.
Yeah. I didn't feel like I wanted to wait any longer to put out some new music. And this is kind of, to me, a bridge between what I'm working on right now for the next record and Hummingbird. And two of these songs off of the deluxe, there's 3 new songs, 2 acoustic versions of 2 songs on Hummingbird. So there's 5 total. But 2 songs were written during the 29 Written in Stone album era and just didn't make the album. And as a songwriter, you write a lot of songs for an album, but there's only, 10, 12, 15 songs that make an album. And these 2 were always 2 that I loved, but just they hadn't found their right home. And then No Rain, No Flowers, which is what we named the deluxe, that's a brand new song that just felt like the right kind of bookend to this chapter of healing for me. And it's a really special song to me. And it kind of just talks about you got to go through pain to get to the good stuff.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
As we've all learned from experience over time. That's really interesting because, I'm always interested that an artist like yourself, you've got this collection of songs and what makes the final cut? It must be really difficult, like, not including the song, because, where do you draw the line sometimes, Right. So there's an opportunity to bring it back around this time round, at least for a couple of the songs.
Yeah, and I'm, like, my worst critic as a songwriter. I very quickly will get over songs, meaning if I write them in an album period or an album cycle and they don't make the record, usually they weren't good enough because I hold my writing at a very high standard. And the fact that these 2 songs have stayed around years later makes me know that they're really good songs.
Absolutely. I also wanted to ask you, because I think it came up at the concert last night, you were saying about your dad had given you some advice about a song that he thought was too personal to put out there for everyone else. And you're known to, like, put it out there, and this is what the fans love about you. First of all, is your dad with you on this trip?
Yeah, he's in your waiting room.
Oh, is he? Oh, it's a shame. We should have got him right next to you. and get Dad a little bit of attention for himself. What's his name?
He would hate it.
Oh, would he?
Oh my God. My parents, I don't know how they had me because they see a camera and they run. His name is Todd. Yes, Todd is also a very hard critic of my songs. And when I played him a very basic version of What He Didn't Do, which, is my biggest song to date.
Brilliant.
And, my dad lived the story of What He Didn't Do, as my dad. And he heard it and he looked at me and he was like, "You can't say this. You can't." And I said, "Watch me. I will." And now he's like, "Oh, well, I guess you should have said that." So now I think he's a little bit more lenient. But when I was writing the 29 album, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm telling the truth."
Yeah. Well, Todd, because he's probably listening to this in the next room, you cut her a little bit of slack.
Yeah,
will you?
come on, Dad.
She knows what she's doing. Oh, no, that's amazing. So does he normally travel with you, or is this a kind of a special?
He travels internationally for work, and so he's always really enjoyed getting to be a part of the international touring. And so he was here when we were on the 29 tour. He heard about the craziness of C2C, but he didn't get to be there. So he decided he was going to come over for the UK portion of the tour. So he's actually jumping on the bus with us tonight.
Oh, wow.
My crew, they love when Todd comes to visit.
That's amazing because we don't have many artists who, the parents come along too. So
Yeah.
that's great.
He honestly comes more here than he does in the States. He likes it over here.
Good. Well, we like having you. It's just after this, I'm going to go next door and just.
You should.
I have to say hello to Todd now.
I promise you that he was panicking when you were like, "We should have brought a mic." He was thinking, "Oh, he hides at the show." Last night, I didn't know where he was, and he did it on purpose because he knew I was going to call him out, and he didn't want me to be able to find him.
Well, this would be his nightmare because not only is it like a radio studio, it's a TV studio all around. So
He would hate it.
This would be. So you mentioned working on, in between the extra songs on the deluxe was almost the in between before the next project.
You caught that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So you know what's coming next.
Yeah.
What is the next project?
I
What can
am
you
not
tell
ready
us?
to tell you about it, but I will tell you it's already halfway done. So
Okay.
I've just felt really inspired musically in the last 6 months. And I guess I haven't really talked about this, but I'm working with a new producer that I've known for years that I think is just going to bring even more to what I'm doing. And I'm really excited about it.
Will there be, obviously you're going to be a bit guarded, but will there be is it this producer bringing a new sound to it? No?
No, I think, I grew up playing bluegrass music, and I'm from the state of Kentucky, which is really known for their Appalachian music. And I think when I moved to Nashville, I was really rootsy in that. And I think 29 and Hummingbird have really started to lean that way. But I think once you've established yourself at the point that I have, I kind of want to take a few more creative liberties and really hone in on that bluegrass, traditional country, rootsy sound that I fell in love with as a kid. So it's almost going to be not a change of me, but more defined in who I am.
And with country now going in every single direction, it really is branching off. So you're almost getting back towards the roots to a degree.
Yeah, and I think I've always been one of the ones that has been like, no, like I love country music, and I'm glad that it's cool again. Not to pun Lainey Wilson, but I think because it's so hot right now to be a traditionalist, Lainey, Cody Johnson, all these people that are really country, Riley Green, I want to go harder in that for myself. But I feel like it's always what I've been doing.
Oh, absolutely. But I love when we go to gigs and I see a slide guitar or a fiddle coming out. That this is my kind of gig.
You got to have a fiddle in the band.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you as well, because this came up a little while ago, about you addressed the fans about misconceptions. So now that I've got you in front of me, what were the misconceptions that you thought, and do you think they've got the real Carly now?
I'm trying to remember what they were.
Was one of them that what was it about? Too personal, or
one is that because I wrote an album about my divorce, that every song is about that person. I would not give him that much credit.
Yeah.
I do not think about him in that way.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for him for 29, but other than that, I do not. So that's a big misconception for sure. There's another that I'm not nice, which is terrible. It's just that I'm painfully shy in general. And I get it from my parents. It's Todd's fault that people think I'm not nice. So Todd, it's your fault.
Todd again, you know, it's like the Carly and Todd show now, really. But do you know what? This is really interesting because you find this with people in radio and TV as well. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because we think as fans that, you know, we had Kane Brown in the other day.
He's so quiet.
Yeah.
He's so nice. But you would look at him and kind of be like, is Kane nice? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you don't know. Because, yeah, exactly that. And it was that very... and he mentioned you, by the way. He said, Carly... and I'm not just saying this. He said, oh, Carly's a good friend of mine because we said you were coming in a few days from now.
Literally one of my favorite people and genuinely like the nicest person, but very quiet.
Yeah.
So you could think maybe his personality is like, you know, not wanting to speak to you, but really he would be fine if no one spoke to him in the room.
Well, that's why I bring him up to speaking to you because that's exactly what happened. So it was his second time round in these studios. And he said, look, the first time I was here, I was a little overawed. He actually said that it was his first time out of the States.
Yeah.
First time in this great big building. And he said, I'm much more relaxed. So I don't think fans get that.
No.
Because they see you on stage and they think, oh, Carly's got loads of confidence and, you know, she does this and does... but actually, the real Carly...
Yeah.
could be, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, it's funny. It's hard to explain to somebody that and it's not that I'm fake. And I don't think like if you put Kane in a room or, you know, people, Carrie Underwood is also somebody that I feel like is very shy naturally. If you put us on stage, it's not that we are faking it. It's just an exaggeration because you are to a degree playing a character.
Yeah.
You know, my biological name is Carly Slusser, okay? So Todd gave me the name Slusser. That's not a good stage name. Again, Todd messed up. My mother's maiden name is Pearce. I do feel I have two personalities. I have Carly Pearce, who is a very big part of me and is me, but she is the fabricated version of Carly Slusser. Yeah. I would be fine when I walk in a room if you didn't look at me, which can come off as rude or cocky. And it's like, no, I'm actually like, do I belong here? Like, do people care? That's actually what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that nails it. And that sums up, you know, so many different people in the industry are like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think like I said, the fans get that in a way.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't match up with what they see.
Well, and it's also, you know, I always say, like, give us a bit of grace if you meet us. That, you know, meeting you out in the world, it's just an odd thing. It's like somebody running up to you and like grabbing you. It's like if you flip that, it's like that's an unnatural experience to have. It doesn't mean that we're not grateful. It's just I don't even like hug my friends, you know, to where I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, it's just, I think there's a lot of weight in those moments. And I wish fans knew we're probably just like you, like, you're shy and maybe you need quiet time and, you know, we're a human being.
And with social media now, because you and through your music, because you're showing a bit of your soul, there's almost that thing, oh, I really know her.
Yeah.
And if they saw you in a minute walking down Oxford Street or whatever, they go, oh, Carly, come here.
Yeah.
And you might be, yeah, I get that.
And, you know, they do know me.
Yeah.
And I think, but I will say in the beginning of my career, it was like a hard thing for me to understand people really do feel like they know you. And just kind of accepting that and realizing like, this is a good thing that people care about you, but also I am very shy and timid. So it's a funny thing.
Well, I feel like we've learned an awful lot more about you just now.
You really have.
It's like having you on the you know, just relax, Carly, and get on the sofa and tell me about your problems.
Hey, I could do it.
Before you go, and I know you're busy, so I really appreciate you taking the time again, and it's wonderful to see you.
Yeah.
A bit more about this new album that you can't talk about. Are there any collaborations on there? Or might there be?
You know, yeah, there will be. I think it might not be the most obvious, which I like to do that. I have a lot of things going on with other artists right now, so.
Do you know what? You're like that friend in the pub that goes, wait, I can't tell you. You know, but
You like
well,
that,
we just
don't
have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, like maybe I'm on somebody else's songs. I don't know.
I'm going to be checking your socials now for the next bit of news about you. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Carly.
Thank you.
And like I said, I think I feel like we've learned loads more.
I know, right?
That's good.
I like it.